Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you can all see this and hear me okay. Let me just clear. So, let's just give people a few minutes to get in here. Also, for those of you who are here, if you want to also join the Discord voice chat for if you want to ask me any questions or just talk to me, I will join it now real quickly. So yeah, like I say, feel free to join the Discord general voice chat if you want to ask me anything, etc., etc. So basically, this stream, I want to do quite a few of these streams where basically not necessarily hack with you guys, but I'm able to help you guys answer any queries, help you out, whether that is on Barker related or bug bounty program related. And also potentially give you some tips and advice with testing on Barker. So, generally, how is everyone getting on here with Barker and hacking around it? I mean, we've been open now for over 6 months. A lot of you have been members for a while. Some of you are new here. But yeah, just basically, how are you all getting on as such? Are you all finding that you are learning something from it as such? Because the general idea behind Barker is the way you're approaching Barker with testing, login, register, and mobile, desktop, things like that. Apply this same approach on bug bounty programs. And if you stick to just one program, then you tend to find a lot more. And that's the whole idea behind Barker, basically. But yeah, let me know in the chat. Just let me know how you're getting on. If you right now, if you have any queries on Barker, right, like if you're hacking on Barker right now, let me know what you're up to and if you've learnt anything. I'm presuming by that silence that everyone's getting on all right as such. I'm checking the chat as well. Okay, awesome. Getting some messages through here. Yeah, that's awesome, Teppy. Yeah, that's basically what we intended for, and we have lots more vulnerabilities being added. We eventually want to get, like I say, HTTP response splitting, deserialization bugs, even potentially some crypto-related bugs. So making some sort of vulnerable smart contract. I know it's relatively new, so it's not something on our priority list. But like I say, eventually we want to be able to create a complete vulnerable bug bounty target as such. A bit like AT&T or something. It's just everything. So, question from Louis Lopez. Do you look for specific keywords to find DOM-XSS? No. So, for DOM-XSS, primarily when I'm looking for DOM-XSS, you're looking for just certain keywords in JavaScript files and things like that, so you can just grep for it. Let's just go on Google here. I've probably got burp set up on here, haven't I? No. Google's just slow. Okay. Somebody wrote a great blog post on this where they listed a load of keywords. I'm really terrible at saving things. I read it on Twitter somewhere. Was it Brute Logic? I think maybe it was. But yeah, primarily for DOM-XSS, for me, I look a lot through the JavaScript files and look for where it's looking for certain parameters or it's handling things in a certain way. So like you're looking for inner HTML, things that read it from document.hash, things like that. I don't know if this is the post. Yeah, so say for example, this is a popular one that I always find in JavaScript files usually. So imagine you've got an open redirect. If it's a 302 redirect and it's via the header, you can't add a JavaScript URI. However, if you look at this example here where it's got location sync, when it's document.location equals and it's got the redirect parameter, like seriously, you'll find this on quite a lot of programs when you're hunting around. There's a program on Yes We Hack. I won't mention it because they're private, but it begins with A. They have this code in one of their web applications, and when you see it redirecting here via JavaScript, so document.location equals redirect, that's where you're able to get XSS from the open redirect as such, because you can redirect a JavaScript URI here. Go away, ad. You can, so like I say, when you're looking through JavaScript files, grepping and hunting things, these are certain keywords you want to be looking for. But yeah. I mean, you can even check, so like with that, on Barker, let me start Barker up, actually. We also have some cool updates ready to ship almost pretty much. It's just me, actually. I've been so busy the past couple of days. As you know, I've got a baby on the way in June, about 5 weeks. Just been trying to sort everything out. But Harry Wookie, my brother, who's actually now also the co-founder of Bug Bounty Hunter with me, he's been making some updates, so Barker Social won't be using ports anymore, and you'll have host names, and with that we're able to make quite a few more changes and add a few more interesting things, and yeah, we've got some more cool things on the way for that. Yeah, I'm just starting up Barker real quick. The only problem is the bigger Barker gets, the longer it takes to start up the container. I mean, First Blood starts up quite quickly. But yeah, it's all good. So, let's say, for example, we want to look for DOM XSS on Barker Social. Now, usually, let's get Burp open. Actually, let's do a bit of manual hacking as well. So, let's just literally look in the page source of Barker. So, first, for me, what's interesting is just JavaScript files and just JavaScript, because JavaScript, for those of you who are not familiar as such, imagine they want to be able to track how many people are clicking on creative. So they can create some JavaScript that every time you click on this button, then it can send off a sort of like a flag to an image to basically notify them, yeah, look, this person clicked on it, and it sends off like browser information and things like that. So tracking and things like that, but it helps the website function, like Ajax requests and things like that. So single page is the theme in web building websites these days. So imagine you click on communities. Now, the way Barker Social is set up is you click on communities, and this is obviously its own separate page. But the way the website could work is when you click on communities, it actually sends off an Ajax request to pull the content for what the community page should show. So when, as you can see here, I click on communities and there's a redirect, and you can see the page refreshes and we're /group. Whereas for user experience and things like that, what a lot of developers and websites do is you click on communities, a request will be sent off to, say for example, Barker Social /API /group, and it will query the content, usually reply in some JSON format, and then display it to the user. So it's literally click communities and it would be instantly changed, and it would be a nice experience. But with that, again, opens up lots of opportunities for us to be able to potentially find bugs and things like that. So yeah, looking through JavaScript files, so let's just type .js. So jQuery, not interesting. These not interesting. However, app.js, oh pardon me, is, oh sorry, should not drink Dr. Pepper before streaming. So the app.js to me is interesting. Basically, what does it do? You'll find app.js on a lot of websites. You'll find that the code is minified, so unminify it, and it will literally make it look like this. And essentially, I get it. Not everyone understands JavaScript. Not everyone understands code, but a lot of it is just kind of understanding what is in front of you. So, for example, this function get hash value. You don't have to understand coding to understand it's a function, which a function is basically where they can then call it from wherever they want. So they can just say get hash value and provide the input. But the function name, get hash value, says to you, okay, well, it's going to get a hash value. And then when you look at what it does, and when you look at how DOM XSS works, you can see here that it's actually looking for some sort of regex in the hash. And then basically checks what it does and returns it. So that would say to you, okay, well, let's actually check this out, see what happens. And yeah, it's kind of piecing things together, looking for old mentions from developers and things like that. Because honestly, you find some weird comments from developers sometimes. So another thing here. So what we can see here is window location to string. So what that's doing is it's taking this. This is the window location. So at the moment it's view source, etc. And it's checking if the URI, which we've set here, the variable equals that. It's basically saying if the URI contains hashtag, then do this. So clear it. Don't let the user see it. And then it's checking if the error code is null, error code is 2, and what it does. But you can see here that you've got things like inner HTML, and error code isn't being sanitized. And there you go. You might discover a bug there if you haven't already. But yeah, I hope that helps you. That's, like I say, just my approach to finding DOM XSS. There's an example on bugbountyhunter where I use examp to query lots of URLs, and then I've got JS scan on GitHub where I also input a list of URLs. I'll just pull both these up. Why is my internet so laggy today? So, guide for bug hunters. Yes, so use an example to aid you in your hunt. And not only that, but I have this, which is JS scan. It's very old. I need to release an updated version. But basically, you input a list of URLs, and it will query each URL. So you input the JavaScript URL, and then it will scan through them and check for URLs and things like that. You can modify it to look for more, because at the moment it only looks for URLs. I believe there's also other things like JS parser and things like that. But yeah, primarily, if you was to scrape JavaScript files throughout the entire site and look for keywords, and then look, because if you're looking for the keywords, it gives you an indication as to, okay, I need to look here. And then when you go and look at the code and understand where this is being called, how are things being worked, then you can kind of potentially understand how things work and find something. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you. So Justin, from being a pen tester, bug bounty hunter, got a few findings. When I have more, I hit Barker harder. That's awesome. I hope you enjoy hacking on it. I get a lot of pen testers sometimes say to me that they struggle with bug hunting. One key thing with bug hunting is patience. And stick to it. Jomar, so can we ask questions related to Barker Creative or specific things? You're able to ask questions whatever you want. Feel free to DM me, and I'll give you an answer in DM if you don't want me to answer publicly or anything like that. But yeah, this is literally your guys' time where we can talk together, sit down together. I can query any of your doubts if you're having any issues currently, or like programs, or you're just stuck, you're just new, you've just joined, and you really want how to get started. This is our time to chill together. So feel free to ask whatever you would like to ask, mate. Just realised people in Discord chat will hear what I'm saying before it actually goes on YouTube. Pen testing's low-hanging fruit because app not tested. Yeah, I agree, but also a lot of programs open in that state, and there's lots to find. It's interesting. I would like to finally know how to look for server misconfigs on Barker, as you are level 4 now and you haven't found one. Alright, cool. Alright, let me open up your account and let's have a little look. Right, so undiscovered. So when it comes to like server misconfigurations, check like now some of the bugs that we do have, we are working on changing some of the vulnerability types and clearing some things up there because some of them potentially we've listed incorrectly and things like that. But when it comes to the server misconfig bugs, look at the headers that are being used, potentially what can you do with them. Look for any sensitive files that may be exposed that shouldn't be there, like maybe people on Barker use GitHub or anything like that. Any files. Also check basically, yeah, you've got potentially a password reset token, and once you've used it, but what happens after you've used it? In most cases, you shouldn't be able to reuse it, right? Because obviously, if an attacker got a hold of that, then they can continue to reset your password. So, does that expire? And then if that doesn't expire, what else is there that potentially doesn't expire? And yeah, a lot of them looking at the headers and things like that. Someone actually, interestingly, so that was a great question actually, because this just made me look at a bug. So we have bug, I wouldn't say the ID as such, but one person found this. We had to do a bit of investigation, but basically they found a way to cause self-DOS as such on Barker. And yeah, after investigation, very valid. Developers would say it's a mistake because it doesn't matter if there's vulnerabilities on Barker, but it also says that, do you know what I mean, when unintentionally we create bugs and certain checks aren't made and things like that. So yeah, there is a way, if you are messing with the headers, there is a way out there to cause a crash on a certain service. So yeah. What kind of low issues are on Barker? So, okay, I'll open up the bug list. When it comes to like low bugs, there's sort of things like user enumeration, things that don't have any impact. So, for example, I don't know how many of you discovered this that are watching this, but liking posts on Barker, and then, do you know what I mean? How does like in terms of social media, the more things are liked, the more they get seen, more popularity and things like that. So if you as an attacker could manipulate that, there's no security impact, but it's still something they want to know about and would probably want to fix, because it's not ideal to have that, is it? Because people could take advantage of things like that. So open redirects are considered low impact just by themselves, because unless chained with something, there is not any impact as such just from redirecting the user. So things like that. There's an issue on there that, 73 people have found it, so it's a nice handful amount, but a little hint for this is look at what the premium feature tells you that you have access to do, and then consider to yourself what can do. So premium includes see who has liked all of your posts, who has liked all your posts, and see all of the likes for a post. So that's for premium only. So potentially, can you do that as a non-premium? So how do you exploit non-simple XSS? For example, on Creative, I'm 99% sure of an XSS on an endpoint, but I didn't find a way to exploit it on the OAuth flow. A non-simple, so like, okay, interesting. So you've mentioned the OAuth flow, so you've obviously found the XSS potentially on that endpoint. So obviously you could leak the OAuth token. I'm trying to, if you don't mind, send me a DM of the endpoint of that one, because there's another interesting XSS, or actually a chain of bugs on Creative, in the sense a lot of you have reported you can get self XSS in app.php on the user's creative account, and someone actually also discovered a way, do you know what I mean, log out cross-site request forgery and log them in and all this and that to affect the other user, which is a very nice approach. However, as an attacker, you want to think, how can I actually create impactful XSS? So you look at your options, and this is where server misconfig may come into place, because you'll discover that creative doesn't have any X-frame options. So you think, okay, potentially I can force the user to add my malicious dog. But then when you go to test that, you'll discover that there's a cross-site request forgery token. But if you look for the methodology, one thing that I mentioned in the when testing cross-site request forgery is remove the token, see what happens, because I actually had a site-wide cross-site request forgery bug where if I removed the token, but let's say I wanted to change a user's email, it would still reflect that change that I wanted to update that user's email, but it would tell me, sorry, there was an error with the cross-site request forgery token, please submit your request again. And then add that in with no X-frame options header, and I can send a cross-site request forgery request to force the user to force the application to say, hey, I want to update my email, and then with click tracking, I get it in there. For some reason, it tells me YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. What does that mean? Hopefully you guys can all still see me and hear me. Okay. Yeah, Joma, send me it, and I'll have a little look, because you've put, especially where developers think it is not possible to modify the input in a select. I think I have an idea as to what bug you're thinking about. I just want to XSS that require more research than basic XSS. In fact, last time on the session I organised members, I said that in general I look for simple XSS. So that, for me, that would be, so let's actually open up. So if you go on Learning to Hack, learn about vulnerability types, cross-site scripting, I have a little like flow as such when I test for XSS. So I'll always start with just this, and then I'll work my way through based on how that works. So are they allowing me to add more than, less than characters? Are they filtering for certain keywords like script? What about if I mix it around? And if they're replacing it to null and things like that, or if it's on like just an input, then and I can't break out of it, then has the developer considered whether they filtered the most known on event handlers and things like that? Because a lot of web applications use just WAF to filter those things. And I always find a way around them with the on pointer raw update one. It always seems to work. I actually found a ton of those bugs on Yes We Hack's live event from that. I mean, I found this on, for those of you who have been part of the hack event, I'm not sure if Holybug is in here, but I do fully intend on hacking with everyone again, but I'll get to that in a bit. But I actually found on a target that we tested on the hack event once, where if I simply use the apostrophe, then for some reason my XSS payloads worked. And when I looked into it and discussed things with people, it seemed that potentially there was some sort of anti-SQL injection code being used there, but because it was doing anti-SQL, it didn't prevent XSS then. So it was like, okay, that's not ideal. So yeah, hope that helps. As a beginner, is it okay to hunt in companies like Apple, Facebook, Google? Yeah, of course. 100%. They have a huge, what is it? One word I'm looking for? Like, domain as such out there. Like, everything of Google is in scope. Same with Facebook. And they're going to look after you. And, yeah, there's lots to play with. The only thing is, with Google is, might be a bit tough in the sense that when you, I don't know if any of you here have been looked on Google before, but there's a lot of parameters and things sent in requests, so it can take a lot to take in. But there's a lot to if you like diving in the deep end, then yeah, it's great because there's lots to play with. That's what I did with TripAdvisor, and I just jumped in really. So when you find hidden parameters or variables that are empty in the source page, how to find the parameter name that you need to send the request? Is it just guessing? Yeah, it basically is. Let me just open my notepad. So let's say, for example, you had variable search. No, let's do redirect equals whatever, right? You've got that. So, and let's say you're trying redirect and nothing's working. You just basically try different variations of it. So, redirect URL, redirect underscore URL. Sometimes I just use our URL because think about it from the developer's perspective. Imagine he's coded this in PHP. The way it would look is he would put like PHP if is set get, and he's like, oh, I can't be bothered to do this, so he's just doing an if set if return URL, then set it in here. So do edit URL. He's tired. He doesn't want to bother doing it. It seems okay. It doesn't matter too much to the user. So try cut the word down completely and things like that. But yeah, for me personally, a lot of it's guessing. And yeah, I believe Shubs released a tool out there to generate a word list of them. Common Speak. Yeah, that's the Haven't hacked in a while. It's come back to me, but yeah, Common Speak. What spaces do you use in XSS payload to bypass? So it depends. I wish I could show you guys my reports because make life so much easier. I wonder if I could somehow redact all the information from my reports and then upload them. That's something to think about. But so typically, let's say for example, that's null bytes. That's new line. Well, you need to put that for both new lines, but I always put them separately as well to see how they work. They are the typical character. I try also double encode it to see how the application. Also, don't also forget to put uppercase to see how it's handling and things like that. But they're typically the characters that I'll be using to test when I'm testing. When XSS, so for example, the developer might replace script with null. So if it's replaced to null, it's replaced to nothing. So you could actually potentially bypass that by doing that. Because the web application's going to say, well, that doesn't say the word script. Oh, that says the word script. So I'm going to replace that to null. And in the end, it reflects that. And then you have your XSS. Because literally, replacing the character to null, because a lot of developers think, okay, that's how I can prevent XSS. I'll just replace this word to null. I've got rid of it. But they don't realize that you can get very creative and start bypassing these things. So yeah. How to develop efficiency and learning daily. In all honesty, I don't know. I just go with the flow. I'm not very good at keeping to routines. I'm late for a lot of things, and when it comes to like corporate routines, it's something I'm learning with starting a business. So it's maybe something I'll be able to get back to you on soon. So how to approach a filter that escapes single quote on JavaScript? So you mean like you're putting var test and it's doing that? So it's basically breaking out. So what you would try is you would just try your own backslash there, and then try encode it as well and things like that. Double encode it. Try 2 slashes. Try 3 slashes. Things like that. Because sometimes you might find developers replacing just double of these to nothing. And then so if you used to do like that, no, if they was replacing double, that wouldn't work. No, ignore what I just said there. But yeah, that's what I would try. And then if you couldn't break out with that, then because it's in a JavaScript context, you would then want to try end the actual JavaScript tag. So you would try script, but if that's filtered, so for example, if you saw that, then it's not possible. Then my next approach would be like, okay, well, are they filtering everything? So I'd just try H2. I know what I mean. And if I saw, for example, H2 being printed like that, but when I tried script, it give me that. That's the less than, I mean. So give me that. Then it would say to me, okay, they're actually only filtering certain keywords here. So that's where you'd then try the script. You would try different uppercase and things like that, and start doing your testing thing, basically. And if nothing worked, you would then think, right, well, for me, that's where I'd put it on the back burner and potentially come back to it, because that's where it'd probably not stressed me out as such, but I'd be like, I need to think a little bit more on this. What angle am I not taking here? And yeah, that's in all honesty where I'd come back to it. I hope you're all enjoying this so far, by the way, and it's going well. Like I say, it's a time for us all to kind of hang out, chill, talk, get help, because I want to see you all succeed. That's always the end goal. Help everyone become a bug bounty hunter. So any tips for constructing cross-site request forgery test for JSON requests? So yeah, you simply just set it in the name. So let me get burp open. Because I don't know if is it available in community or not. I don't know, but let me just set up my proxy. Usually I use Chrome, but yeah. So let's refresh. So center repeater, engagement, generate cross-site request forgery. You can click on options and click on. I don't want to update. What is it? It's not URL encoded. Is it URL encoded form? No. I need to actually get some post data. Hold on. Change request. Test. Engagement. Generate. Basically, you set the name. Maybe Burp doesn't actually do it. So you've got this form action here. You set the content type. What is it? It's encoding, isn't it? I can't remember from the top of my head. Let's go on Google. Form post content type. You set that to text plain. You can't know everything from the top of your head. The amount of times I go on Google and be like, I forgot this. It's just, I don't know why my internet's so laggy at the moment, though. Form ENC type. Let's see what it's looking for. And this should be common practice anyway, to be able to just go look into, read things, read the docs, look exactly what HTML fields and things are looking for, because, well, it's just good to get into the habit of reading docs and reading how things work. So, like I say, form ENC type is valid for image and submit input types only. So, with that in mind, we put form encode and type. I believe you can just put ENC from the top of my head, but we've put like text plain. And then in the input type you put hidden, but you put your JSON in the name. So, say for example, you had email and you wanted to update the user's email to Sean. Now, you have to be able to smuggle an equals through. So how do we do that? Well, luckily, Gmails allow us to add extra things in our emails. So we'd put Sean plus, and then we'd end the name. So we wouldn't end our JSON. We're just ending the name. So when this is sent in a post request, the way it's going to look at the moment, it's going to look like that. Because that's the name of our input. Okay? So now we need to be able to get the rest of it through. So you simply set the value to the rest of it. So we've got Sean at, and we'd put test@gmail.com. And then when you press submit, what happens is, because the name of it, we'd have to end the JSON, because if not, it would obviously not like it. So what we've had to do, so the way the web application will then see this is it will see that. But that to the web application, and if it's not verifying the content type, so if it's not verifying that it has to be application/JSON, and it's simply allowing anything, which in our case is text plain, because we can't send application JSON in a form post. But the web application is going to handle this and say, yeah, it's JSON. You want to update your email to Sean at =test@gmail? Of course. Whereas what a lot of people find when they're generating these proof of concepts is if you don't find a way to smuggle the equal signs in, what happens is the equal sign will end up at the end. So let's say, for example, you simply added the name as just this. So you put Sean at test@gmail, and you just added the name, but there's no value. What that's going to do is, like I say, it's going to add the equals there because it's a form post, and the web application is going to say, that's not valid JSON, because there's a trailing equals there. So that's why a lot of times when you've got cross-site forgery with JSON, you have to find a way to smuggle the equal sign in somewhere in a certain parameter that's going to allow it. So hopefully that helps answer your question there. Where I'm at with messages. JavaScript in Basket is clear and simple to understand, but many websites have obfuscated JavaScript. Sometimes it's just too hard to read. Like I say, they replace all the variable names and stuff, don't they? And yeah, it can be tough to read. But Tom Nom Nom Nom, I think I added an extra nom there, but he has a great video out on dev tools and breakpoints and stepping through. So basically you create breakpoints as the website's loading, and you'll be able to see there and then kind of potentially what this JavaScript is doing, and where certain things go to when it's done a certain thing. Do you know what I mean? Like they might have a certain function there, but then because they've obfuscated it, it's all the way everywhere, but you can follow it basically. So yeah, I highly recommend you check that out. Highly recommend it. He is very talented at what he does, and he's a great speaker and awesome to listen to. He's very chilled. So log out cross-site request forgery. Yeah, that is low impact, really, because logging the user out, if anything, you've helped the user, because then you can't conduct any attacks on that user. If you found XSS or anything like that, you now suddenly can't do anything to that user because you've logged them out. Whereas when it comes to chaining it with a logout cross-site request forgery, so what you would use it for a chain. So there's an example of this on Finity. Let's get it up. Finity Uber Self XSS. My internet is just, I don't know. So yeah, this great post from 2016. Uber bug bounty turned Self XSS into good XSS. He needed to, come on, internet. So he was able to get self XSS on partners.uber.com, right? By entering in his name. But that's it. So there was a cross-site request forgery vulnerability in the logout function, which it really isn't considered an issue. However, what he noticed is when the user browses to logout, it destroys the user's partner.uber session and performs a redirect to the same logout function on login.uber.com. So he said, since our payload is only available inside our account, we want to log the user into our account, which will in turn execute the payload. However, logging them into our account destroys their session, which destroys a lot of the value of the bug. Again, also destroys a lot of the value of the bug because we've logged them out of their account, right? So his plan, first, log the user out of their account, out of their partner.uber account, but not their login.uber account. So this is where they need the logout cross-site request forgery on partner, because they want to log them out of that, because that's where their XSS is, but they don't want to log them out of login.uber.com because they want to be able to grab that user's authentication session cookies from their XSS on partner.uber.com. So second, log the user into our account so the payload be executed. Finally, log them back into their account while our code is still running, so then we can access their details. So in that case, that's where they were able to use a logout vulnerability in their favor, basically. But usually by itself, it's not considered an issue. There's some tough web frameworks that automatically escape HTML4 cross-site request forgery, taken like Rails. Yeah, I do take the exact same approach, and usually after a couple of days, weeks, however big it is as such, and I've realised, okay, everything's pretty secure here, that's where I kind of put my focus on to finding the features that are going to have the functionality that I want to be able to break. So downloading invoices, anything to do with payment information, querying user details, things like that. That's where I'll try, and I'll stop looking for XSS and things like that and put primarily focus on business logic, application logic, and things like that. I actually recently did that on Amazon. I stopped looking for XSS on there because someone out there found a way to automate and find them all, and I think he reported over 100 or something crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I found a stored XSS that can be chained to server-side request forgery. So is that on Barker or out in the wild? If it's on Barker, I have a feeling I know which bug you're on about, and typically that one will be considered just XSS, because in the context as to what's vulnerable is you're able to provide an XSS payload, which, because of the context of where the payload is and what you can do, you can force that to make server-side request forgery calls. But if they was to prevent the XSS bug there, then that issue would get fixed there. Any tips on hunting crypto programs? I'm learning myself, man. I highly recommend, though, that you set up a MetaMask wallet if you haven't already. Switch the network to Ropstein, I believe that's what it's called. And you're on the test network, and basically, you can deploy your own smart contracts, start sending money. It's not money because it's a test network. It's fake money. But you can start testing how these smart contracts work, what happens when this, and yeah, you kind of get a feel for how it works. It's free to play around with and mess around. That's how I feel I learn the best. I really like just deploying these smart contracts. So I was playing around with a lottery contract not so long ago, where each user pays in and it picks a random thing and then it burns the coins automatically. And I was just curious to see, like, okay, well, it determines the person who creates the smart contract as the owner, but if you then open up another MetaMask account as the non-smart contract user, I've been testing to see, well, can I actually call these functions and things like that. It's a bit like imagine different role levels on a bug bounty program where you've got admin and things like that, and imagine you're able to test as a normal user, can you do admin rights? That's actually how $600 million was stolen from a bug bounty program called Polygon, I believe it was, where somebody basically discovered, well, I can actually just call all these functions that the admin people can, so he did. So, yeah, that's my answer to that one. What are the possible operating system command injections in CGI bin directories. In all honesty, I'm not sure. I've not found too many command injection vulnerabilities and things like that, if I'm honest. So I'm not quite sure on that. Let's have a little Google around on that, if my internet will. Command injection CGI bin. So this is from 2014. You're probably not going to find too much CGI stuff out there, are we, these days? But I'm pretty sure you could probably just try the typical command injection payloads, because it's... Yeah, so CGI bash script might contain cat the file and then mail it. To email a file to a user supplied email address. However, security worries is an attacker might enter the email address, which then removes all their files. Yeah, so I mean, typically the typical command injection vulnerabilities would work there. But yeah, interesting read. So I was just getting a bit engrossed reading that. So somebody's asked me to DM them on Discord. You do know you are free to message me, right? Where's your name? I need to find it. So I'm just messaging somebody who's told me to DM them. So oh, my bad. That was for review. You can tell I don't do YouTube streaming often. That wasn't a message, that was for review. I do apologise there for messaging you. My bad. Typical Friday day, innit? How to approach XXE bugs? Good question. So if you see application JSON, that's one of my favorite, where you then change it to application XML, because it's something you can easily test for there and then, and sometimes there might be an XML pass on the back end there as well. But wherever you're obviously able to provide XML code, so for example, I believe it is Rockstar Games from the top of my head from when I was looking with Ben, when you're editing your emblem, they you provide it in XML. So because you're providing XML to the server, again, I mentioned this in my methodology, but it would say to you as a hacker, okay, I'm able to provide XML to the server, which obviously has a security risk that because it's XML. Do you know what I mean? You could add malicious content in there. So what has the developer considered when preventing this? And that's where, again, you go down the rabbit hole, start testing things and seeing how things work. If you're able to upload files, so you can add your own .xml file. There is also XXE via SVG. However, so let's say you're able to add this in an SVG and you upload it. What a lot of people will do is they will then visit that SVG and potentially get a request to their website and say, well, hey, it's vulnerable. Like they got a ping back to their burp collaborator and things like that. However, that request came from you because your browser rendered the SVG and it was able to render it. So when you're uploading an SVG with your XXE payloads, you want the XML to be passed inside your SVG by their uploader and for it to execute. So you want to be, if you get a ping back from their server IP because it passed it, then you're on the right track and there's something potentially there. But yeah, That's my advice there on that one. Any tips to find more bugs on Barker? My main profile username is Natsu. Yeah, sure. Let's have a little look. I hope you're all enjoying everything. Giving you some advice, tips, help. So, undiscovered bugs for you. So, yeah, okay. One hint is I would look in some JavaScript files at how things work. I mean, is all the JavaScript the same on every page as well, or is anything different on any certain pages? I would also have a little think about, that we have different roles on here, so normal, premium, potentially staff, admin. What can premium do? Can you do anything premium can do as a normal user? That you can sign up as an admin, so consider what an attacker might try to do against an admin. You can set some user input. Potentially, an admin might visit something and results in something. I would also have a little look at what features are available for the admin, and again, what can be accessed and things like that. But you're doing really well. I think I've give a lot of hints there and help. Just checking if I've missed any messages on Discord from people. Welcome, James. Haven't had any time back time recently. No worries, man. No worries. Fully understand. With a lot of people's lives getting a bit back to normal, they're being asked to go back to work and things like that. I understand it's very chaotic and weird time for people at the moment. With that said, if you're watching this and you bought like the 3-month package or things, it was a 3-month package we had, and then 1 year, wasn't it? And you haven't had time to get involved, get started, send me a message. I'm happy to extend and give you more time. Like, everything on Barker and the experience is for you guys and girls. Obviously, I say guys, not just the guys, you know what I mean? So a life hacker mentioned. So I was going to speak about that actually, wasn't I? Good. You just reminded me. So, for those of you who weren't aware, when Bug Bounty Hunter first opened, we were actually hosting hacking events where I was hacking with members of the Bug Bounty Hunter. We hosted a few of them, and I loved it. Everyone seemed to love it. We even found some bugs. It was really great. Sadly, we didn't get paid out of those bugs. I plan on writing up because I feel like our approach that we took to find them, where we found this XML file and how we went about it, and then we, from the top of my head, I have to go back in the chat, but somebody discovered a way to make it work, and yeah, it's an interesting write-up. However, in terms of like the legal terms of me finding vulnerabilities live in front of people when I'm not able to verify anything as such and things like that, it's a grey area, very, very grey area. However, we recently created Bug Bounty Hunter Limited, which is a company now. So with that said, we're going to be able to get contracts and things, and actually things written up in place for companies who want to work with us, and we're able to hack them live in front of them, and you guys join in, and ultimately we get paid. I've got a lot of ideas for building all of that out, but yeah, I have full intentions of hacking again with everyone. I really enjoyed it. It was great. I just need to get everything like legally okay, yeah. How manual is your server-side request testing? So for me, when I'm looking for server-side request forgeries, I'm looking for just like the features. So, like for example, developer.paypal.com, they have lots of different webhooks and things like that. I mean, yeah, here's a task then for anyone watching this that maybe feels like bored of their current program, not find anything, or they just want a task as such. Go through first of all, write down or do some research and write down all of the features that server-side request forgery has been found on. So, developer webhooks. I can't think from the top of my head. You have to go look and research into it all. Got certain headers you can use and things like that. Then, literally, all you have to do is go on Google, get a list of all the programs. I mean, you could automate a lot of this, but basically find all of the programs which are going to have this functionality. So GitLab has it, PayPal has developer, TripAdvisor has developers, lots and lots of programs have all of these, and they all have like webhook functionalities. And you know what the idea is as to what you want to be able to find here, right? I'm going to input some local URLs, see how they respond. You'll find that a lot of them respond very differently. Some of them might just be vulnerable straight up. And yeah, I honestly feel like you would find some stuff if you were going for just a feature. So like I say, write a mental break this list now of all the features and find those features on the programs. I kind of feel like I want to do that now. I've said that. It sounds like a good idea. Because you haven't then got to dive deep into a program as such and all this and that. It's, okay, I want to find out. Like, let's think of a program. I know that John Deere have just opened a program recently. So John Deere developer. Let's imagine everything's in scope for John Deere. I've just Googled John Deere developer. Let's see if they have a developer portal. They do. Develop with John Deere. So, interesting. Instantly, we could potentially start testing this on here. This is, well, I mean, everyone's going running their like subdomain scanners and things, but like if we know what feature we want to look for, another example is if we put John Deere OWolf login. So developer.deere.com for some reason isn't loading for me. So yeah, we can see here that, look, instantly I've got two things sparking off in my head. John Deere have OWolf logins, and there's also developer portal things. So what's there? How do things work? Yeah. So do I have a methodology for GraphQL? No, if I'm honest, it's not something I test off too often or anything like that, if I'm honest. Still something, if I'm honest, I'm trying to get a lot more confident at. How do I choose a target? For me, I mean, John Deere to me is interesting because I know the brand John Deere. I've seen lots of their combine harvesters and tractors around. So for me, when I get told you can hack us and see what's what, like, I mean, it's like, that's interesting. I'm curious as to know what John Deere's actually got out there. Is there some sort of management portal to manage all their combine harvesters and crops and all this and that? Like, it's an interest. It gets me interested. So if you find the program interesting, then you're going to have a lot more better time. So a lot of people use GitHub and GitLab a lot in their jobs. So they might find interesting to test on them because it's just interesting to them. They enjoy using that website. It's part of their workflow and they're familiar with it. That's for me, and I like going for big names and things like that. The next event will be the end of September. So yeah, I'm working that out at the moment with how we're going to do this because I want to give people as well enough time to find the bugs. I want to pace everyone. I also have a baby due in 5 weeks. I'm hopefully going to share some more information on that shortly. So if you have a contract with a company to do live hacking, it will almost be a live hacking event for a program or pen test as a group. So I don't want to go into it too much because we're still working out everything and we're still developing things and etc. But the idea is with our hack event and with live hacking events, when you have a bunch of hackers who have got together for a certain time period, you have people from all over the world, different skills, knowledge, expertise. I find that great results, really good results come out of it, and everyone loves collaborating with each other, and it's just a great experience. And on top of that, I really feel like if the developers for these companies were able to see what us hackers were doing and can ask us, why are you trying this here? What are you trying for? Then it can help the developers get more of an insight and learn more as to, okay, we understand that these developers, these hackers were trying these payloads for this reason. They can ultimately build better code, defenses, and better security, really. So it's sort of like a pen test as a group, but it's going to be like a live hacking event from like bug bounty programs. But I'm not trying to go and be the biggest, best, anything like that platform out there at all. All I want to honestly be able to do is, one, help people become a bug bounty hunter and gain the mindset and knowledge and skill to achieve that. Two, I want to be able to then help connect the very talented all of you, or connect all of you to companies, so you can use your talent and skill and be appreciated. But three, I want to be able to help these companies work closely with you guys, because working closely with hackers is so beneficial to companies. And it's not just about opening a bug bounty program and welcoming reports, because if you look after your hackers, then you literally basically have hackers on demand, and you release new features. Everyone has a good relationship together, and everything you're able to get tested, learn, and everyone has a good experience. And the long-term goal is, I hope that, because I basically kind of just hope that a lot of people are going to be able to trust me in the sense that I'll be able to help and support you throughout the experience with any issues that potentially may arise with your reports, or if the company needs some help with anything. I like to think that you guys know that I'll be able to give a fair input and help out where I can. I want to look after people, and we just have a good time together. So how do I approach .NET Java-based applications? I believe TripAdvisor was built in Java, and my entire methodology came from TripAdvisor. So I don't know. I just try different payloads. Honestly, based on what it's written in, is you're kind of just going to be trying different payloads. Some payloads are going to be like weird old payloads where you're adding characters that you wouldn't necessarily think, because it's parsing it in a complete different way. I mean, look at how bad essentially PHP is, even though Bug Bounty Hunter's built in PHP, but when you look at how it passes URLs and things, it's just like, why is it doing it like this? And you can bypass it. So a lot of what the web application's built on will then determine the payloads and directories and files that you're looking for. Hello, Holybug. We were speaking about you earlier, actually, with your question in the chat. Where was it? So I'm not going to repeat myself, but I recommend you go back and look at this video. But we will be having, I do want to hack again with people, mate, but I just need to get it legally okay in terms of companies sign contracts, and I'm able to actually show myself hacking in front of you guys and their developers, and everyone will be okay with it. How can we contribute to Bug Bounty Hunter? Just being a part of the community and helping me. It's just, I don't know. I'm not asking anyone. You don't have to contribute any money or anything like that. You're able to contribute some articles and challenges. So we have a few members who have that role at the moment, and long term we do want to open that up so anyone is able to contribute and share. And also, with that said, with those of you who attended our hack event, we obviously rewarded you with some respect, which is our experimental cryptocurrency coin. We do fully intend as well of adding some use case for that, so you're able to show your love to each other and send this respect to each other and redeem it, withdraw it, use it, and it actually has some worth. Essentially, we have a lot on our to-do list and we're getting there. But I do have to unwind at some point to welcome my son or daughter into this world. You guys should all have a little guess as to what you think it is. And, have a little guess. We don't know what it is. It's a surprise. But any bug bounty program I'm working on recently, I haven't hacked in so long. However, with that said, I am itching to hack on Amazon. I hacked on them on their live hacking event. They fixed a lot of the bugs that I found. I'm really keen to see what's new on Amazon and hack on them, if I'm honest. They have so much out there that, yeah. I mean, I'm already seeing that things look a bit different now. There's just so much, and the thing is, Amazon move quick because they're a big company, lots of team, lots of developers. They essentially ship a lot of code, things change, and what a lot of people don't realize is on Amazon is you can be just a normal account or sign up for a business account. You have to actually sign in. So when you sign in, you can actually become a business account, and that opens up lots more functionality. So I'm going to answer this last question from Holybug, and then I am going to call it an end because it seems we've got through all the questions and everyone seems to be having a good time and etc. So if I was to put in 10 hours of work daily on AppSec or bug bounties, how would I manage my time? So I did used to do that. When I was doing bug bounties full time back in 2015 when I first started, I was on holiday in Greece, staying up till 4 a.m. on the balcony. My missus went to bed 10, 11, she's tired. I'm just hacking non-stop. I didn't manage my time. At any given time that I had, I was just hacking. So I always try to work a 9 to 5, not necessarily those hours. I'm not up at 9 in the morning, trust me. But I do try to get at least a nice day's amount of work done in the day, whether that's staying up till 1 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever. Personally, I prefer hacking in the evenings. The world is quiet, there's no distractions, I can just zone out and just get hacking done, really. I'm very terrible at managing my time. Like I say, if it felt like hacking, I was hacking. I just really, really went down the rabbit hole of everything and was just enjoying the experience, really. Yeah, that's even now I'm trying to learn how to manage my time with obviously running Bug Bounty Hunter, getting things going, and obviously I'm coming back to hacking because, like I said, long-term goal is to hack with you guys on the programs that have approached me, contracts signed. I have no intentions of charging fees like other platforms do as well. So the company will actually be able to save some money potentially, and the hacker will get 100% of the money. And also, ultimately, I hope that because of the low fees for working with us, the company will actually have more money to be able to pay the hackers potentially. So you'll even potentially be able to be appreciated a bit more, really. Would I learn something sooner or would I skip something? Good question. I'm not a fan of automating stuff, but I do wish that I did a bit more automating, because there are some stuff that when I'm hacking that I know I can automate, but it's always a case of I need to take time out to actually build this automation tool, and I would much rather just hack. So I now in 2021, and it's years later, now I look back, I do wish I did build some more automation on some things. like with hunting. So I wanted to build something to scan around on Wayback Machine and query all of the pages that have been indexed and start gathering JavaScript parameters that had been used and then trying them on new endpoints and things like that. In terms of learning something sooner, if I'm honest, I wish I learned cryptocurrency a lot sooner. I learned of cryptocurrency back in 2013, but when I saw that you had to send your money to some Russian bank account to get digital currency, I was a bit like, what? No thanks. And then I got I wouldn't say got involved as such, but then I learned again of Ethereum in 2016. A friend messaged me and said it's the new Bitcoin. You can buy it on Coinbase. It's only $5. And yeah, from there, I wish I kind of learned a lot more, because for those of you listening, it's not going away. Companies are paying big money for those of you who discover vulnerabilities in their smart contracts. And the tech is being implemented in everyday life. I mean, Web 3.0, where you have MetaMask and you're able to interact with the website and the blockchain, query balances and do all this and that. 5 years, I think we'll all be kicking ourselves for not learning it sooner. That's just my personal opinion, but yeah. I hope everyone's enjoyed the stream. I believe I've got through all the questions, answered of all of them. I hope I've answered them all and helped you guys. I'm going to end it with giving you some tips on Barker, in the sense of a few things. One, don't forget to test different functionality in different states. Now, what I mean by different states is try it authenticated, try it not authenticated. So log out, try this feature, log in, try this feature, and try these parameters in both states as well. Now, because you saw the code in Barker where it was removing certain things from URLs, don't just rely on what you see here in the URL when things are redirecting and things like that. Pay attention to parameters being used and things like that. Also, two more things. One, don't forget, we are in the 21st century. Yes, 21st century. I always get confused when people say it's 2021 either way. Mobile phones are very popular. Okay, people love mobile phones. Blizzard released Diablo on a mobile phone. That mobile phones are that popular. So every website has to be mobile friendly. Okay, and lastly, I'm not too sure if some people are in here who have found this bug, but there is an interesting bug on creative that is linked to communities. Okay, I don't want to go into that too much. Now, some people have discovered that a certain thing on creative is querying for something on this communities and then doing a certain something, and they found a very interesting approach to this. I haven't triaged them just yet because I'm thinking what I'm going to do as such. I might potentially add a new interesting bug, add another bug type as such, or explain to them what's what. But yeah, but with that, look in the JavaScript files. Look at potentially what JavaScript file is being used, because I said that jQuery isn't interesting and things like that and font awesome, but some JavaScript files that are imported are interesting. So yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed the stream. I hope you're all enjoying hacking on Barker and enjoying the experience. We've got so much still in store for everyone, and like I say, looking after you guys is our priority, and making sure that you're learning, and eventually we want to help you earn, because we understand those of you who've joined Bug Bounty Hunter, you've joined to become just that, a Bug Bounty Hunter. We had a meeting with Bug Bounty Hub recently where, if you hit level 4, then you're able to get private invites on their platform. They are also a new company and getting things set up, and we had a very, very interesting meeting with them, and hopefully we'll be able to share more information on that soon with you. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed it. I want to do these more often to help clear your doubts, give you some tips, pointers, help, and hopefully soon we'll be hacking on a program together. So take care, everyone. Be safe, and I'll see you in the triage. I need to get some triage done. Take care.